Picture this. You're a soldier, pinned down in a mud hut somewhere in the mountains of Afghanistan. 800 meters outside the door, an armored pickup truck is hosing your position with a heavy machine gun. You call for air support. 20 minutes out. You won't last 2. A Javelin missile could end this in seconds, but that's a $100,000 shot just to kill a pickup truck. Somewhere, a Pentagon accountant is already wincing. Instead, the soldier next to you reaches behind his pack and pulls out something else entirely. A black tube, barely a meter long, weighing just 7 kilograms. He loads a shell that costs a few $100s. One boom. Silence follows. This is our subject today, episode 15 of our series on essential infantry weapons. The Carl Gustaf M4 recoilless rifle, not a bazooka. A real, honest-to-God cannon, small enough to fit in an infantryman's pocket. Sweden's quiet obsession with firepower. Sweden is a strange case. Publicly, always neutral. Privately, one of the most serious small arms engineering nations on Earth. After World War II, Europe was littered with the wrecks of armored vehicles, and infantry everywhere were desperate for something, anything, that could kill a tank. The Soviets built the RPG, simple, crude, a tube that flings a warhead and hopes for the best. The Americans doubled down on the bazooka, riding rocket propulsion as far as it would go. The Swedes looked at both and shook their heads. Rockets drift with the wind. They wanted precision, a true, predictable ballistic trajectory. So, in 1948, the first Carl Gustaf, the M1, was born. Here's the key distinction. This is not a bazooka. A bazooka pushes a rocket out with its own engine, accelerating gradually through the air. A recoilless rifle is different, violent, and immediate. The instant it fires, propellant explodes inside the chamber. Half that energy blasts the 84mm warhead forward. The other half vents backward, out through a nozzle in the tail. Forward thrust and backward thrust cancel each other out, almost perfectly. A small miracle of physics that lets you fire a cannon-sized round from your shoulder without being knocked flat. The barrel's rifling spins the shell hundreds of times per second, gyroscope stable, locked onto its flight path, muzzle velocity 255 meters per second, roughly Mach 0.75, 76 years of relentless weight loss. The original 1948 M1 was pure steel, 16.3 kilograms. Any soldier will tell you, every extra kilogram on your back costs you miles. Carrying a 30-pound steel tube through snow and mud is a brutal tax on the human body. By 1964, the M2 shed some weight with alloy materials, down to 14.2 kilograms, still a serious burden. After the Cold War ended, the 1991 M3 got ruthless. Engineers stripped out the heavy steel barrel entirely, replacing it with a thin steel liner wrapped in fiberglass. Weight cut in half to 8.5 kilograms. And then, in 2014, came our protagonist, the M4. Saab's engineers pushed materials science to its limit. A titanium liner wrapped in high-strength carbon fiber. The result weighs less than 7 kilograms, shorter than a meter in length, and still rated for 1,000 rounds of barrel life. For comparison, a loaded M249 squad machine gun weighs nearly 10 kilograms. This 84mm cannon weighs less, light enough that one soldier can sling it over a wall with a single hand. That weight saving isn't just about comfort. It's logistics. Every kilogram saved means a soldier can carry 2 more high-explosive rounds or 3 extra bottles of water in a crisis. On a real battlefield, that's the line between life and death. A bottomless ammunition depot. Weight alone wouldn't make this weapon a global hit. What does is its versatility. Against a modern main battle tank, the M4 admittedly struggles. Its 84mm shaped charge penetrates roughly 400 to 500 millimeters of steel armor, enough for older vehicles, but a tough ask against modern reactive armor. But modern combat rarely looks like tank-on-tank warfare. It's urban. It's about eliminating threats hiding in buildings. And here, the M4 turns into a Swiss Army knife. Need to breach a bunker? There's a dedicated anti-structure round that punches through a wall before detonating inside. Need to clear an infantry group in the open? A round packed with hundreds of steel balls turns half a football field into a kill zone. Need visibility at night? An illumination round lights up a position a kilometer away. Need to break contact? A smoke round throws up an instant wall of cover. Saab even built in a programmable fire control system. A laser rangefinder reads the distance to target, transmits the data straight into the shell, and sets it to detonate 3 meters above the target's head, useful even if the enemy is hiding behind cover. Effective range against moving targets 400 meters, against stationary targets 700 meters. With a rocket-assisted round, reach extends past a kilometer. A golden ratio, priced like cabbage. Here's the part that really explains its popularity. Economics. A Javelin missile costs roughly $80,000 per shot. A luxury sports car gone in an instant. An M4 high-explosive round costs somewhere between $500 and $800. The launcher itself costs around $20,000, rated for 1,000 rounds, meaning the weapon's depreciation per shot is roughly $20. Do the math, $20 of depreciation plus a few hundred in ammunition to potentially take out a fortified position worth hundreds of thousands of dollars or disable an armored vehicle worth millions. That kind of return on investment is exactly why even the best funded militaries in the world, with drones and precision munitions to spare, still hand their infantry this Swedish tube. In modern warfare, you don't spend your most expensive resources clearing out low-value threats. You save the Javelin for the tank. You use the Gustaf for everything else. Saab, by the way, isn't just the now-defunct car brand people remember. Its real business was always hardcore defense engineering, from the JAS-39 Gripen fighter jet to airborne early warning radar, down to this single tube of infantry firepower, the price of physics. Every weapon carries a hidden cost, and the recoilless rifles is brutal. The backblast. The instant it fires, superheated, high-pressure gas erupts backward through the nozzle, and anyone standing within a 60-degree cone, up to 15 meters behind the gunner, is in a genuine no-go zone. That overpressure can tear through internal organs in an instant, causing fatal injury. The firing noise itself can exceed 170 decibels. Without proper double hearing protection, a gunner risks permanent hearing damage. It's a brutal trade. You're throwing destruction forward, but you have to keep that space behind you completely clear. In the chaos of a real firefight, that's a constant discipline the whole team has to maintain. Saab later developed a confined space training round using a saline packet to absorb some of the back pressure, but the basic physics of backblast remains a real hazard every gunner has to respect, a global standard. Since 1948, across 4 generations, the Carl Gustaf has become something close to a universal infantry asset. More than 40 countries currently field it. US Army Special Operations, Navy SEALs, and Britain's SAS all carry their own designated variants. Australian infantry has hauled it through jungle warfare. India, a country that famously loves its Russian-built fighter jets, has taken a particular liking to the Gustaf too, buying it in bulk and even negotiating local production lines with Sweden. And on the battlefields of Eastern Europe today, it's become a familiar sight. Soldiers moving in pairs, one carrying the launcher, the other carrying several rounds of different ammunition types, using its lightweight to leap quickly through ruined terrain and reposition immediately after firing, staying one step ahead of any counterattack. By the numbers, caliber 84 mm, empty weight under 7 kilograms, length under 1000 mm, muzzle velocity 255 meters per second, effective range 400 meters against moving targets, 700 against stationary ones, over a kilometer with rocket assistance, armor penetration 400 to 500 millimeters of steel. Ammunition types, armor-piercing, high-explosive fragmentation, anti-structure, smoke, illumination, and programmable airburst rounds. Rated barrel life, 1,000 rounds. Standard crew, 2, a gunner and a loader, though a single soldier can load and fire it alone in an emergency. A weapon, in the end, is only an extension of human will. The Carl Gustaf M4 never chased raw, destructive power. Instead, it balanced 4 things: weight, precision, versatility, and cost into something close to a work of art. And in doing so, it proved a simple point. In the chaos of modern combat, an accurate weapon that infantry can actually run with will always outlast the flashier alternatives. That's it for this episode. Next time, we're switching gears completely to a weapon that's become a legend in gun games and sci-fi films alike. A close quarters monster that pushes rate of fire to the physical limit, the Chris Vector. See you then.